COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19. Some people in Ghana are still skeptical about the reality of COVID-19.
I'm not sure that the thing is real in Ghana. I don't sure. So I will scam.
Because of that, Second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Alban Gbagbin, gave this suggestion.
I want to see on TV some evidence of death to wake them up from slumber.
But Minister of Parliamentary Affairs Osei Mensah Bonsu disagrees.
And he says that people should see death and recovery. How can we say this?
There were 3 government media briefings this week, and we learned our case count is increasing, but so are our recoveries. As the nation waits to hear from the President later this month on government's line of action, this is what Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah wants you to have in mind.
So the expression which has been introduced, which we are inviting the nation to a conversation around, is living as normally as we can while the virus remains in the global ecosystem. And that's what we mean by living with the virus in the global ecosystem.
41 nurses and midwives across the country have contracted COVID-19. The Eastern region has 13 of its health workers testing positive. Meanwhile, health officials in the Ayawaso North constituency say some residents are not allowing themselves to be tested.
When we get to the community, they refuse anything we say because they feel once we've given them the first test, there's no need for the second and the third test. For those who are in their homes, when we get there, they lock the door, they don't allow us entry. And then even for those who even allow us entry, once we just disclose to them we are coming for your second test or your third test, they refuse the samples to be taken.
Contact tracers also say their lives are being threatened.
You call the person, your results is in, and then I have to see you to break the news, to tell you how your status after the test. And I'm like, and the person is like, I don't need it anymore. You can take your results. I'm not sick. Don't call this line again. The next time you call this line, I will look for you and then kill you.
Whilst at this, some patients with COVID-19 in the Kumasi South Hospital are plotting to break out from isolation centers.
They tried to use a bear trolley to break the door, but they couldn't come out. Even though the door was broken in sections, they couldn't come out.
Government announced it has allowed some 245 Ghanaians deported in Kuwait to be brought back home.
The deportees will be mandatorily quarantined and tested for COVID-19 immediately upon arrival into Ghana. Number 2, deportees who test positive will be given the necessary supportive treatment. Deportees who test negative will remain in quarantine for a second test at the end of a 14-day quarantine period.
Let's now hear from a pediatrician on her near-death experience after contracting COVID-19.
And they tried all they could. At a point in time, there was Ludo around, and then they would play. I remember the day the second results came and it was negative. One of them would dance and even made a video, and it was so wonderful. It was so wonderful. So for me, I was just alone into myself, not because they were trying to but because I felt there was a whole lot going through my mind.
Residents of Jamestown cried out when their wooden structures were demolished to pave way for the construction of a fishing harbour.
I work here and we feed our children. Why? If right now you have come and scatter here, what should we do? We don't have any job to do. To me like this, I don't have any job. I just clean fish and I get food to eat. So right now we have come and destroy it. How are we going to eat? How are we going to feed our children?
But a community leader there reminded them of the future benefits.
I believe most of them also come from the community, so they have their family houses and other things. But we can't say because of them the work should not go on, because this is something the entire community is embracing. Because when the fishing harbour was here, in fact, it brought a lot of economical improvement to this community.
Residents of Bongase in the Bono region protested demolition of their homes by the Buipa Authority. But the authority explained they must preserve the dam. More so, the residents were given enough notice. Let's do some politics. One of the many names that are being considered as potential running mates for John Dramani Mahama is former GMPC CEO Alex Mould. This is what he thinks.
I am working with my party, and any position my party wants me to help them in, I am prepared to do that.
NDC General Secretary Johnson Asiedun Ketia says his children are being victimized because of his political leaning.
Are they squeezing you so you can play ball?
Oh, sure.
How are they doing it?
The Gapo high instruction they gave to that businessman. When he said, why? I'm doing my private business, blah, blah, blah. Then they said, look, Asiedun Ketia's son is too politically exposed. When he's here, engaged in clearing of goods and so on, he can import weapons to come and overthrow government, so he must be kicked out.
A founder of defunct Capital Bank, William Atuason, began negotiations with the AG to have some of the charges brought against him dropped. He also said through his lawyers he will refund monies to the state. 4 Supreme Court justices were sworn into office. Members of Parliament also submitted themselves to be tested for COVID-19. Why is Asin Central MP Kennedy Japan talking so much about the founder of the International God's Way Church, Bishop Obinim?
He sent his missiles, these young men going on radio, television, insulting me, but I'm focused. I've seen that he has done harm to a lot of innocent people in this country, and I have to let Ghanaians know.
Ending Kumasi in the Ashanti region, where a 3-year-old boy who was beaten by his father for bedwetting was so happy to be discharged from the hospital. And that's a wrap of the week with me, Hannah Odame.